So, I've played a lot of Warhammer games over almost the past year, and the one that made me feel the worst was playing against Death Guard once. Mind you, the guy was the most knowledgeable guy up to that point that I faced in a Warhammer thing. I learned a lot of what I was doing wrong and stuff, but all the debuffs the Death Guard gave, it just made me want to cry almost at the end of that game. So I decided for, kind of by the tabletop tactics, looking at that video and everything, I just decided, why don't I try to give a mode to doing the same, the Horde mode thing against Death Guard? I mean, it won't be that bad, right? Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of me trying to play Horde mode by myself at home alone, using proxies of caps, a lot of bottle caps and everything. I mean, seemingly the first video it's got over 700 views, people liked it, so it's like, huh, okay, well, I'm going to keep trying. My name is Brandon Wheeler. If you wonder why I got a straw mouse, because when I was in the army, I had like heat stroke, something happened. I can't talk right unless I bite down something. Sounds like I got like a died out thing and stuff. For some reason, biting down on something like these soft straws help. So, moving on. If you haven't seen the last video, I attempted to do a horde mode playing on my bed like a kid would against Tyranids, and it's just like. And I think overall, I think I succeeded. So, yay! This next one is going to be against Death Guard, which, like I did for the funny intro, Death Guard make me want to cry. That one time I versed Death Guard, it made me want to cry so bad. So that's the only game that I felt like completely overmatched. Because the guy knew what he was doing. He was absolutely like most knowledgeable in the game and everything at the time that I've met. He was awesome, but it's just all the debuffs and everything. And I was just feeling real bad. Plus, building a 1,000-point list, I didn't exactly. It's harder to do a 1,000-point list for me in a way because I'm trying to figure like how am I going to do certain things. I didn't exactly know what to do. I know a lot better now, of course, but at the time I was like, because 2,000-point games are more like what I like to play. So, but speaking of a 1,000-point list, that is what I'm going to be taking in with this video. So I played a Tyranids player the other day, and I won that match with a 1,000-point list. I'm kind of testing. We wanted to test a 1,000-point list for a upcoming RTT at like Hobbytown. So this is the list that I brought for the thing. I had a Librarian with a Lieutenant. The Librarian was going to be with the Intercessor Squad. The Lieutenant's going to be with my Stern Guard veterans. A Heavy Intercessor Squad. My Assault Intercessors and Jump Packs, a Devastator Squad, Incursor Squad, my Vanguard Veterans with Jump Packs, and my Redemptor Dreadnought. That is 995 points. Doing this kind of list, I'm trying to use my Vanguard Veterans a little bit more to kind of give me a little bit of mobility, and also so I can, not rely on Terminators and everything like that. But for a 1,000-point list, I got different versions I'm trying to work with, but this is what I took also into this Death Guard match, so that's what the 1,000 points is. The Horde mode by Poorhammer, don't know it. Again, I found it by people making comments on Play on Tabletop or Tabletop Tactics, one of the two. And I was like, what is this? And I looked it up. It's them kind of making a mode where you're kind of getting outmatched, overwhelmed, blah, 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 stuff like that. Eventually, there's basically like an AI system rolling. Someone can run it for you, or you can play it alone. Now, according to the rules, I'm supposed to double SP points for playing alone, but I still haven't done that yet. Maybe the next one I will. To kind of give me a kind of heads up, but I've been kind of playing it the way it would be. So, but can I last against Death Guard? I don't know. Let's find out. Now, for this match, I did a kind of a hammer anvil style, and I played it on the floor this time, again, like a kid would, because that's what inspired me with this whole thing, and getting the Warhammer to begin with. And I actually added some terrain stuff, and by terrain stuff, I mean use the pieces of a sparkling water bottle thing that I had. And I was like, I just cut this up and use it on the ground. So that's what I did. Again, super cheap gaming type stuff. I even have a Facebook group about super cheap gaming and everything like that. And that's where you can kind of get, again, you can use whatever you have around the house. You don't have to use a bunch of stuff for terrain and everything, just use that. Like, oh yeah, this is terrain, this, this is that. If you have a bunch of stuff to use as quote unquote proxies, like bottle caps, that's what I use for proxying everything. Go ahead, do it. So that way you can learn, etc., stuff like that. So, anyway, let's get into the match and see what happens. Before the match begins, I have 3 secret missions that I choose from. Aspect of Change, Rear Extraction, and Action Hero. Now, Aspect of Change is like, I have to destroy a unit and then try to get a, field promotion with 2 of them, but I have to end the battle with 2 of them, and it was like, I don't know. Rear Extraction, end with all my units in the deployment zone, but a little confusion about that one, but we'll get into that. And Action Hero just basically do an action. Okay, great. Wonderful. But for round 1, here we go. The secondary is Insane Gambit, which is, I basically have to destroy a marker. And it's like, oh, okay. Great. So, But for the spawn roll, I rolled an 11 and 6. What is that? That is, with my spawn rolls and rolling for what the Death Guard get, they're going to get 10 Blight Lord Terminators with Reaper autocannons and a Messianic Malignifier. And I was like, what the heck is any of these things? And I finally, brought up the data sheets, because that's how I learned to look at everything. And I was like, oh, they have lethal hits on everything. And it's just like, everything I looked at, Death Guard, lethal hits, lethal hits, lethal hits. Why does Death Guard get everything with lethal hits? I know thing, but it's just kind of like... Now, the detachment rolls not exactly the same as what an actual Death Guard thing is going to be. Their detachment roll is just, minus the 1 to their toughness, wound, their WSBS, of all models within 6 inches. Now, Death Guard has a little bit extra different stuff with their detachment, but for a Horde mode, it's just kind of like a general rule for everything, and that's with every army, but that's what the detachment looks like. And this is what it is for Death Guard. Now, the Messianic Malignifier has an infiltration, and it goes near... it goes towards the other objective that I put there, because I was thinking, okay, if I was a Death Guard type guy, where would I want to put this thing? Because it gives a lot of cover, it gives a lot of stuff like that. Where can I put this thing? So I decided to put it near the top objective. For reference, because it's Hammer and Anvil, you have the top, center, bottom objectives for the setup. I try to put that one towards the middle between the two, so because I was trying to think of, well, movements, if the things are going to just move forward, they're going to move forward and be near that, which is what they do. So, and that thing gives a lot of, cover and crap like that. Okay, but they shoot at my heavy intercessors, which I figured is probably my closest thing to them. They have 18 shots with their bolters, and again, the lethal hits thing, 13 lethal hits, 9 hits, but only 3 wounds, and 6 wounds, but basically I passed all the shots, so I didn't have to worry about anyone dying yet. Wonderful. Now, the 2 Blight launchers, because they have that type of ability, they could take both the Blight launcher and Reaper autocannon, seemingly, so I was like, okay, I'll take that to replace their stuff. The 2 Blight launchers and Reaper cannons, they shoot, and basically at all things, it kills 1 guy and leaves 1 at 1 wound. I was like, okay, that's a lot of damage. But then we go on to my turn. I have 1 SP for hoarding the home objective, and my Vanguard go up to the north objective, others just go forward. The Vanguard do the action on the objective, and then cursors advance towards the middle objective. Alright, so shooting is -1 to hit due to the Malignant Magnifier. It's already minus everything. But shooting at all the stuff, pretty much besides the Dread, only 2 wounds hit the Terminators. Nothing else. I only do 2 wounds after everything I shot at them. Because they're tanky. Their toughness is up 1 compared to... Like, normal Terminators are 5. These guys are 6. And it's just like 2 wounds. At everything I shot at them, 2 wounds. Now, into the Malignant Magnifier, I did try shooting at the freaking thing. I use my Devastators. I use pretty much all that. I get it down to 1 wound. I get the Malignifier down to 1 wound. 1. I can't kill it. I can't charge because I'm a little bit too far. I could charge with the Vanguard, but then I would lose the doing the action, and so that sucks. Very muchly. That definitely sucks. But because I completed that, I completed this one secondary mission of the second secret mission of Action Hero. Good. I completed the secondary. Good. I gained 4 SP by it. I have up to 5. Good. So, but my rules for winning the game are I have to complete 2 secret missions. So I have to either do the field promotion thing and have those 2 last, or have the others stay in the deployment zone. This is going to come into play later on. Alright, round 2. The secondary spruce this place up. Great. And the misery is Fog of War. Great. Not like I already need more debuffs. Alright, the spawn is a Death Guard Rhino and a Death Guard Icon Bearer. So not too bad. Funnily enough, that Death Guard guy that I versed, he used the Rhino very much. He was able to transport his Terminators or whatever he had very closely and everything. So I guess a Rhino is like almost a Death Guard staple, maybe? I don't know. It was part of the list thing. I mean, compared to other things, is like doesn't really show up, but a Rhino for Death Guard seemed like almost mandatory. I don't know. Rhino moves forward towards the middle. The terms, move up. Icon Bearer moves up towards the Malignant Magnifier, the MM. I'm dead. Alright, the Rhino shoots everything and anything cursors, but kills 1. The Terminators also shoot any cursors, being the closest target. 32 attacks, because rapid fire. And in cursors, they're dead. What do you expect? Rhino charges my Stern Guard, which moved towards the bottom objective on the previous turn. The Rhino doesn't do any damage, but my Stern Guard causes 4 wounds to the thing. Terminators go into the Vanguard, and only about 6 are about able to fight with the charge thing. 2 of them die, and I can't do anything with the Vanguard and damage-wise back. Great, so now my Vanguard are tied up. So, my turn. I gain 1 SP, go up to 6 SP because my Stern Guard aren't exactly on the objective yet, so I don't get that. So the secondary, being spruce this place up, the problem is with that I would have to put 2 fortifications on 2 different objectives. But again, only at the home objective, and I was a little bit too far out from the bottom objective, meaning I can't do it, meaning I'm going to fail the secondary. And that's just going to be some extra misery next turn. Wonderful. So the Oath of moment is going to be the Terminator still. So the Oath of moment is going to be the Terminator still. I moved the Stern Guard back because with a Lieutenant they can fall back and shoot and charge again, which is the advantage of a Lieutenant. That's why I like having the Lieutenant for that reason. The Vanguard also fall back, and they're going to fall back pretty hard. I just need to get them away. So I shoot the Terminators. Pretty much everything shoots at him. Nothing's doing anything, but the Dread does manage to kill a few of them, which is nice. The Devastators cause 1 wound on the Rhino after all that. And the Stern Guard even shoot at the Terminators because I was trying to do everything. They killed 1 as well. Great! So shooting, I can kill the Death Guard. Wonderful. Charge, the Assault Intercessors go into the Rhino. Stern Guard back in. Also to the Rhino. The Assault kills the Rhino, which is wonderful. The Heavy Intercessors go into the Terminators. They kill 2. My 2 of my heavy guys die. That's bad, but yeah. Now the Rhino, because I killed it, a Rhino has, can explode, right? It explodes. And it does D3 damage, and it kills 1 Assault Intercessor, and but some Stern and everything is just, it's bad. It causes a lot more damage than it did probably with it shooting anything else. So, not looking too bad, but still sucks. So, next turn. Alright, top of the round 3. The new secondary is back to basics. Okay, that's going to be good. The misery, though, Plant Quake terrifying shockwave, and yeah. So I spawned the stuff first, the 10 Plague Marines with a leader, a Biologist Purifier, or Putrefier, I should say, and the bottom is also 10 Plague Marines with leader and Biologist because I rolled an 8 and 9, and both my rolls matched up to those things. Do you know what looking at all these data sheets and everything, that Biologist thing, see, they already have lethal hits, but that's on 6s. That Biologist gives it lethal on 5s. Ugh. I hate Death Guard with a passion. So, but the top, they're basically the same thing. The top group of Plague Marines, they have 2 Plague Belchers. The bottom have 2 Plasma Guns, just to kind of change it up and make it fair. But the Plankwake, you have to put in 3 different areas, and it gives mortals to each. And I was really hoping it wasn't going to be in the center, and it's the center. Great. So it's 2 mortals to each. It kills 1 heavy intercessor, and have 1 of 2 It puts 1 of their Terminators at 1. Great. It kills the Malignant Magnifier because it's right there. Great. So I don't even get points for that. So shooting phase, the icon shoots at my Stern Guard but doesn't do anything. All right, the top shoot at my Stern Guard, 2 dead, and of course again they crit on 5s. Fortunately, I'm still good. The bottom shoot, only 1 dead. So total I lose 3 guys again. That is just not going well. I'm losing things real quick. Charge phase. The icon charges into the heavy intercessors, do nothing. The Terminators kill the last, Terminator thing, which is nice. And then the bottom run into the assault intercessors, and it's bad news. It kills everything, so yeah. Okay, I got 7 SP. I put all 7 on airstrikes and a hospital. I airstrike the middle, and it kills the icon and kills 1 Terminator. And I move the Vanguard to the hospital. Oath is the term to try to finish those freaking things off. I shoot at the bottom ones with my Stern Guard and the intercessors. Basically, I shoot a whole bunch of things with Terminators. The Dread finally kills the Terminators. Thank you. Have I stated how much I hate Death Guard? I hate Death Guard. The toughness tank stuff. Nurgle, you suck. I know a bunch of you going like,
"Oh, Grandfather Nurgle, your grandfather sucks."
Because the back to basic thing happened, I was able to kill 2 units technically, so I completed that secondary, so I gained 3 SP. Wonderful. Round 4 is for the Horde. The secondary is secure drop zones. Okay. Misery is bad investment, where I lose 5 SP. I only had 3. Spawn, I rolled an 8 and a 10. It's Typhus with 20 Poxwalkers and Mortarion is at the top. 20 Poxwalkers. Here's the picture of how many bottle caps that looks like. The Pumpkin's Mortarion, which is, I guess, fitting because Halloween and everything, and it's the Halloweenish thing being chaos. See, the thing about having a lot of bottle caps, you get a scope for how many things are on the board, how much armies there are, and I've seen a match where I watched the first round of this guy play, these 2 guys at Hobbytown once. They were playing like Yasha Militarum against Death Guard. The dudes, it was Dawn of War style, and there's just all across the side of the board, just Poxwalkers. Just Poxwalkers the entire way. The guy had a huge army of just Poxwalkers. Yeah, he had other things with it, but it's just so many Poxwalkers just all along the side. And it's just like, what? So seeing all these caps reminded me of that, and it's just like, why? Why is there so much? All right, Materi moves up, chooses his part of his things he has is like diseased influence, and things next to him get buffs, stuff like that. They shoot a lot of things. Shoot at the Dread, but they don't really do any wounds per se. Rotarian does in fact charge the Dread, and chooses Strike and causes 6 damage. My dread is down to 5 wounds. But I attack back, and the dread does nothing. My lieutenant fights on the bottom. He, despite the stern guard being absolutely decimated from the time before, he manages to kill 2 of them, and he's down to 3 wounds. So the lieutenant's still alive. He's fighting strong. He's trying to hold on, despite the stern guard being wiped out. He's trying. I have 1 SP at the bottom of my turn. I oath the top Plague Marines because why not? The hospital, I put the Vanguard back to basically almost full health, but one's at 1 wound. It's kind of weird how it works. And I move them all back basically what I can, and I keep the Dread up. I move the Vanguard up, but my intercessors with the Librarian, I move back to the home objective and the deployment zone because I'm trying to think, okay, maybe I could just try to do that secondary mission, trying to end with that thing. I shoot everything at the top, except, the Dread and the Mortarion, except the blast thing. And I kill quite a few. I killed basically a total 6 guys, which is good. But nothing hurts Mortarion. Vanguard charge the top, and there's like 4 left plus the bio at the, that are still up there. I'm able to kill 2 of them, or they kill 2 of my guys, but it's just a back and forth melee. What else do you expect? Alright, Mortarion takes 3 damage from my Dread, and my Dread's at 2 wounds, but he's still alive somehow, despite everything. He's still alive. And of course, Lieutenant dies. But the spawn secure drop something. I failed that secondary, so that's going to add 1 extra misery to the final turn. Oh, wonderful. It's already going to be several already from the rules to begin with. Alright, round 5 Horde. The secondaries dive into hell. And the 4 miseries are Untouchable, Debris Storm, Unlucky Night, Chitrous Growth. I roll for the Swan for the Horde. 12 and 7. Guess what? 10 Blightlord Terminators. This time I have a leader, and I choose out of a list kind of like a Lord of Virulence, whatever that is. And for the 7, a Demon Prince with Wings. Oh, great. The Devastators, they die. And basically, there's not really much going on. Mortarion kills the Dread, and he, is able to move that stuff into the Vanguard because he's right next to him. Vanguard keeps fighting the top Plague Marines, but because the 3+ invul save now, I only kill the wounded one that was there. And it's just like... why? So, going into the bottom of the round 5, my only hope is to stop the line and hope I can try to do something. I don't really care about anything else. I have 1 Vanguard basically left. I have a chance to win here, but ironically, my Vanguard has to die in order for me to even complete this secret mission. So, Mortarion does sweep, and it wipes out the rest. And all that's left basically is my Intercessors and Librarian in the deployment zone. So you would say, "Oh, you completed your secret mission. You have all your units in the deployment zone. You won, right?" I don't feel like I did, because here's the thing that happened. The problem is that everything kept trying to attack the Vanguard, and it feels like everything actually kind of failed. And I realized, oh wait, I forgot to charge one thing in that technically should have charged in from the previous turn, that Demon Prince with Wings. So even if I added him in and he charged it, the last Vanguard, technically, and I rolled to see what would happen and everything, he would kill it. But because the way the card reads that all my units have to end up in the deployment zone, does that mean everything that I had has to stay alive? Technically, because I only had 1 unit left. And if I only have one unit left, then yes, technically I would have won, but I don't think. The way the card reads, it says all my units. And I don't have that. So, as much as I could technically kind of say on a whim that yeah, I won, I'm not going to count this as a win. I count this as a failure because from the way the card reads, I think I needed everyone to survive, and I don't think I did. So once again, it's a failure. I mean, technically, if out of the first Horde mode, that was a success. This is a failure, but it's a failure against Death Guard of all things. Now, technically, yeah, it's my only second time going against a Death Guard type army. I mean, I'm not counting this as any official record or anything. It's just, making these things for that. But my goodness, it was just like, this was terrible. This was bad. This was really bad. And it's just like, reading all the different stuff Death Guard has from all the data sheets and everything like that, looking them up and finding out all the information I need for doing all this is just like, I hate Death Guard. And I don't, because I do the Vanguard Spearhead and everything, I really don't have an answer against Death Guard per se. I know the answer is stay away, shoot them, which is what I like to do. I like to stay away and shoot you so you can die over there and I don't have to do anything. That's wonderful. That's great. That's what I prefer to do. But it's not that easy, especially because when they have like the cannon things, they got a whole bunch of different stuff. You would think a slow-moving army you just shoot at and they just die and go away. That'd be the easiest thing to do, but it's not as easy as you think because you have to try to do all the secondary stuff, and they just, especially the detachment rule is not even as bad as what the actual Death Guard stuff is. All the debuffs, and it's just like, man. So, advice on how to actually fight Death Guard when I actually go against another Death Guard player one day, because eventually that's going to happen. And I really don't want to be intimidated, because that's the whole reason I wanted to do a Death Guard Horde mode, so I can get a little familiar with Death Guard, so I can try to be like, okay, how do I fight this? The answer is just stay away and shoot. But the way Horde mode is, with the objective markers in the middle and all that, it's not that easy. So that's all there was for this one. The next time I play Horde mode, haven't decided what I'm going to verse yet. It's going to be, I guess, on the table. I'm going to just put it on different stuff to be like, hey, you can play anywhere and everything. It's super cheap wargaming. You can play here, you can play there, you can play on your bed, you can play anywhere. So I was like, yeah, cool. So, but I am going to probably play on an actual professional table, probably at Hobbytown or something. That way it's actual terrain and everything, and you can see what it would be like I should play that way. So, and I got something else. I do have access to something that I do want to do. So it'd be kind of like a actual Warhammer game, not Horde mode, but an actual Warhammer game with a slight narrative idea that I'm going to attempt to do. I just got to look at what I have and be like, ooh, perfect. So, and I do confirm I do know I have them. I just don't know exactly what it is. So I don't know when that's going to come out, but that's going to be interesting for me to do. All right, so have you played Horde mode yet? Have you done it by yourself? Have you spent all the time to do this? Because unlike the last time where I spent last night, I spent all night trying to play it and everything. I didn't do that this time. I spent 3 days playing this because I'm so busy with different stuff. So I spent time in between trying to play it and everything. So tell me what you think, what you do. Can you do any better? I don't know. Advice on how to stop Death Guard. Alrighty, well, see you in the next one, in the next Horde mode. Goodbye.